Prophecy Watchers TV. Gentlemen, it's good to be with you right here in studio.
Yeah, good to be with you too. And how do you like the new studio, Gary?
I love it. It's wonderful, easy to work in. We've got places we can spread out our notes. I feel very comfortable, Tom. But I want to get right to something today that I think is very important. We've got an announcement to make. In fact, we have several announcements that we'll be making over the course of this program. But we're going to be doing something very special a few months from now. We're going to be doing a prophecy conference unlike any other. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, I couldn't be more excited. The Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference, and this really does have an international flair to it. I mean, we've got, Bob, it's the biggest names from around the world. Anybody, everybody who is anybody, if they haven't yet signed on, we've invited them to sign on, right?
Well,
and I couldn't be more excited. Yeah,
it's not your father's old-fashioned
No.
prophecy conference. We've got the biggest names from literally all over the world. We're calling this an international prophecy conference because we're going to have people literally coming from dozens of countries, you know, all over the globe.
And we're going to, of course, have the top names in prophetic exposition. At Prophecy Watchers and at Skywatch TV, we really make it a point to have guests who are eminently qualified to bring the messages that they bring, who are classically trained, disciplined scholars, and people with a fresh and vital message. And that's going to transmit beautifully into this upcoming prophecy conference. Tom, let's talk about the months between now and when the prophecy conference actually comes. We live in crucial times. People are talking about the Middle East. They're talking about things as dire as World War III, economic collapse. All kinds of strange things are happening right now, and strange prophetic predictions are being made. And it's in this context that this prophecy conference will be born.
Well, and Gary, as you know, I wrote the book, Zenith 2016. We've done shows on that book for a few years because I have believed for some time that 2016 could well be the most important year, both in terms of the United States of America. We're going to have a new president. This could be the most critical election in the history of the country that could set the tone for, you know, everything from how Christians are treated in this country, which we kind of see some of that eroding now. But I also think that 2016 has to me, it has almost like an charged prophetic significance about it. There is seems like a convergence of almost everything that is coming together. You mentioned the Middle East and what's happening in the Middle East. And once again, you know, we just made a deal with Iran. And Israel is telling us, you know, you may have unleashed the beast with this deal. We may have to deal with them. This could turn out to be some kind of a nuclear, issue that could lead to Armageddon. You look in science and what's happening in the genetics revolution and CRISPR technology, and people talking right now about how we're going to have to immediately set policy about when and under what circumstances we're going to approve genetically modifying humans. But again, is this Matthew 24? Are we talking about the days of Noah? Are we repeating something that once before brought about the wrath of God? Then the Temple Institute, calling to build the third temple. I mean, have you ever seen a time where it's like every major hot button issue in the Bible that all of us through our lives have been talking about, all of a sudden it's all coming together. And of course, some of the speakers that we have coming are hand-picked because we want them to deal with those issues, right? Men like Randall Price, to tell us what's going on with the temple, things like that.
Well, we've been teasing about this conference for months and months, kind of building up the anticipation, lining up all the speakers and the names of the people we have. I want to give you the dates of the conference first, and it's really important you write this down. It's going to be July 15th, 16th, and 17th. It's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to be in Colorado Springs, Colorado at the Marriott Hotel. Now, I lived in the Springs for about 6 months, and I can just tell you, it's a beautiful place to visit. It's a beautiful hotel. Been there before, just wonderful people there. But we've got 25 speakers lined up, one name more spectacular than the next. Some of these names I'm not even worthy to introduce, Gary. Chuck Missler.
Well, Chuck Missler, who doesn't know about Chuck Missler, author of many, many books, groundbreaking prophetic ideas. Tom, you and Chuck have known each other now for a long time, and this man's thinking is stratospheric when it comes to his ideas and his teaching techniques, very systematic teaching techniques. When you sit at one of his presentations, you are fed point by point, and you come away really understanding what he's talking about, in spite of the fact that it's phenomenal material. Now, he'll be there. He's going to, I think, really kick things off in a wonderful way. Bob, we've got a number of
Bill Koenig. Bill Koenig's going to be with us.
International correspondent. He is, by the way, a licensed Washington correspondent. Travels the world with his wife, and they have their fingers on the news in a way that nobody else does, Bob.
Now, we've got a lot of new names at this conference that people are unfamiliar with. I want you to talk about Bob McGinnis.
Yeah.
I want you to talk about Joel Richardson.
Yeah, okay. Of course, Joel Richardson is known by a lot of people. And Bob McGinnis is known if you're talking about like Fox News. He's a kind of a regular on Fox News. And that's because he's a senior analyst for the Pentagon. In fact, that's his day job. That's what he does. He works for the Pentagon. But he's also a believer. He is a Christian, and sometimes outspokenly so. And he's got his differences even with, the executive level of the United States, as I suspect a lot of people maybe in the Pentagon do. But he's been working on a project called Never Submit. And the whole idea, of course, is, the name of Islam actually means to submit. To make you submit, and his point is we will never submit. And what he's doing is he is focused on persecution of Christians throughout the Middle East, but what he's warning is that the widespread persecution, even the extermination of Christians, could get worse before it gets better, and we have to be concerned that this can even start materializing here in the United States. Already we're seeing pressure being put on churches, being told what they can say, what they cannot say. If you preach certain things that are old-fashioned, it might be considered hate speech. And he's laid out an entire plan about how we can reverse that course. And, of course, coming from inside the Pentagon, he's got an insider's point of view. Now, the relationship between him and Joel Richardson is interesting because Bob also believes, I don't know if he believes in the Islamic Antichrist as far as that theology, but he definitely believes that the Islamic State is being driven by, these ancient hadiths, these prophecies from Muhammad, allegedly. And when you look at what they believe, it's basically their version of the apocalypse and Armageddon. They have a Messiah who is coming, the Mahdi, right? They have an Antichrist figure, the Dajjal. And so between these two guys, I don't think there'll ever be a conference again where you will have the possibly two leading experts from a Christian eschatological point of view that are going to put into context for the world exactly what's happening in the Middle East. So two powerhouse guys, Bob McGinnis and Joel Richardson.
What's going to happen when we add Avi Lipkin into that mix?
Oh, there you go, right? What is going to happen?
And Avi is going to come and he's going to talk about ISIS.
Yeah.
And so many big names. L.A. Marzulli. I mean, many of you have followed us over the years, followed our interviews with L.A.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about his trips to Peru and Catalina Island briefly.
L.A. is always on some secret mission or other, examining hidden artifacts in some faraway place. And when he comes back, he has pictures, he has text, he has, sometimes he has displays, things that he very carefully treasures. But he's really on the search of the Nephilim. That is, he wants to validate the reality of the biblical Nephilim. And I think his quest is well documented, and what's really due in his case is recognition, because he's worked very hard and long to try to solve this issue, which some people would just rather tuck under the rug.
Now, speaking of those types of issues, we've got a temple controversy going on, and we have an expert coming to this event. We're just thrilled that he's accepted our invitation. He's going to be there with us next July. Tell us about him.
Dr. Randall Price. What can I say? His scholar of first magnitude, has written about Bible prophecy from the premillennial, dispensational, pre-tribulational position. But he's also an archaeologist who travels, he studies, he comes back and he writes, and specifically on the Temple Mount. Was the Temple Mount actually on that specific platform, or was it somewhere else? You know, Tom, there's a big argument going on right now. Where was the temple? Was it on that platform, or was it down in the city of David? Randall Price is going to be speaking to that.
Yeah, and I'm glad he's going to be there because this is something that's on a lot of people's minds. There's some confusion about whether or not what we call the Temple Mount is the biblical Temple Mount. And why is that important? Well, because you have the Temple Institute. You've even got members of the Knesset recently that have talked about this kind of what is it that's happening among the Orthodox Jews? They're getting a messianic kind of feeling that something's about to break open. The Temple Institute recently, initiating this program to start breeding pure red heifers. I mean, there are concerted efforts that are actually being made to make the way. And of course, when we see that, we start thinking, the appearance of the Antichrist, the one who's going to defile that rebuilt temple, could be in the wings.
A lot of exciting things happening. And we're talking now about the upcoming Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference covering crucial prophetic issues. And this is very important, Bob. This is going to be taking place at a time when prophetic issues are at a state of tension. I don't think I've ever seen them in my entire life.
Right before the Summer Olympics, just a few short months before the USA elections, L.A. Marzulli calls it the days of chaos that we're in right now, and we see that. This is not a normal conference in any way. We've only listed the names of 8 of the 25 speakers. There's 17 more. We don't have time to even talk about them. There's some even bigger names on here that haven't committed yet that we expect will very shortly. The event, and I'm not going to exaggerate now, I'm going to look right in the camera and tell you the truth. We expect this entire conference to sell out in just a week or two. We've got 1,000 seats, be 1,000 registrations. There is no more room. We're going to announce on October 13th online sign up. You're going to be able to go to prophecywatchers.com and sign up on October 13th. I guarantee you, it may be just a few short days after that, there will be no seats left for this event. You just don't find 25 speakers in one place with the names like these men and the subjects we're going to be talking about.
No, that's absolutely right. Another thing is that Skywatch Television is co-sponsoring this event. We will be there. I will be there. Gary and I will be emceeing the event. And so when registration starts, if they come to Skywatch TV, they'll see some kind of a graphic there. They'll click on it. It'll take them over where they can register online through Prophecy Watchers. But you said a moment ago, there's this conference is unlike anything before. I think our whole relationship is unlike anything before, right?
Indeed.
Who does this? But I'm just glad to be part of it.
Well, 2 ministries, that are both only about 10 or 11 months old, launching our first prophecy conference together. This is going to be a really big deal.
Skywatch TV at prophecywatchers.com, and we're working together. And Bob Ulrich, by the way, is at the heart of pulling all the details together so that this conference will be an overwhelming success. Bob, I know you're really good at that, and we're depending on you to do even better than ever this time.
Gary, this is one of the easiest things to do in the world. Who doesn't want to hear about the things that are about to happen in the future to the world? It's exciting.
Now we're going to take a break. When we come back, Bob will have departed, and we'll have someone else sitting in that particular chair, Derek Gilbert. And so Tom, Derek, and I are going to have an extended conversation about Skywatch TV and Prophecy Watchers. Be right back.
Here at Skywatch TV, we discuss a lot of cutting-edge theological concepts. In fact, some think we've gone over the edge with some of the things we discuss. But the truth is, we build on the work of giants. One such is George Hawkins Pember. G.H. Pember was an English theologian in the 19th century who saw the return of the days of Noah in the rise of spiritualism, the theosophical movement, concepts that form the basis of the New Age movement, which is influencing evangelical churches in America today. He wrote a lot about prophecy, not common in that era. But again, a lot of the things that Pember saw coming, we're seeing the fruit of today in our 21st century world. Most of Pember's works are out of print, and those that have been reprinted are often heavily edited. It's not unusual, not uncommon, not unheard of for a first edition work by Pember to sell for as much as $1,500. Well, for the first time, Defender Publishing has collected the classic works of George Hawkins Pember under a single cover. The G.H. Pember collection, including his classic work Earth's Earliest Ages, available for the first time in one volume from Defender Publishing. It's $29.95 plus shipping and handling. This is an invaluable resource for your reference library. The G.H. Pember collection, $29.95 plus shipping and handling from the Skywatch TV store. Available online at skywatchtvstore.com.
Welcome back. And as promised, to my left is Derek Gilbert. Hi, Derek. How are you?
Hi, Gary. Glad to be here.
We're going to talk to you on an extended basis here in just a moment. But first, I want to go back and kind of rejoin a conversation that Tom and I were having a minute ago with this very exciting event upcoming. This Rocky Mountain International Prophecy Conference upcoming July 15th through 17th, 2016, and between now and then we've got our work cut out for us, and you're going to be working with us at Prophecy Watchers.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be helping to make the world aware of the fact that we're mutually co-sponsoring this International Prophecy Conference. Some of the speakers I pick, some of the speakers you guys pick, some we both kind of just threw into the pot and put together. And you know you got a problem when the biggest issue you got is how in the world are we going to cut down this number, because you can't take any of these names out, right? They're all the top people in the world. Somehow we got it down to whatever it is, something like 25 top speakers. So we're pretty excited about that.
And we have two ministries, Skywatch TV, Prophecy Watchers, just have barely gotten our feet on the ground in the past few months. And we have been moving along at a very rapid clip in growth. And Tom, I don't think either one of us had any idea how things would evolve.
No, in fact, I mean, what the public doesn't know is that a few years ago, when I first started secretly talking to you guys, saying I'm going to start this television program, and later on you became available, and I came and tried to beg you to be the host of my program. You guys launched Prophecy Watchers. There was no way to know how quickly. In fact, you're kind of holding the reins back because the growth could be so exponential. You don't have the staff or the infrastructure to even be able to take care of it. And so that kind of brought us to this announcement that we want to make today.
And the announcement that we're going to make today is that Derek Gilbert is going to be Skywatch TV's new host. And Derek, I've worked with you over the years. We've met, we've actually sat across tables from each other, and I've always respected you as an interviewer, a broadcaster. You've got a long history of broadcast interest of various types, and I just wanted to introduce you to the people that are watching us today as the new host of Skywatch TV. What really interests you as a broadcaster? What do you consider the challenges? Where do you see yourself going with Skywatch TV?
That's a really good question. If somebody had said to me 15 years ago that this is where your life is going to lead you, I would have run screaming from the room. It's because the Holy Spirit has really led me on a journey the last 15 years. As my wife Sharon will testify, when we first met, we had some rather energetic discussions about theology, and I was not in the place that I am now. I've always had a real curiosity about the way things work and why things are, and there really is no bigger puzzle about what works is the way the universe works. What did God design? What are the rules that He put in place for us, if you will? I mean, I know that's really oversimplifying it, but so theology, doctrine, the way He created this universe, what is our role in it? What is the nature of the ongoing spiritual war that's been taking place?
And I know you're interested in the subject of the merging of science and classic Christianity. We are into an exponential scientific age where everything is happening on an hour-by-hour basis, and everything from artificial intelligence to genetics to who knows what. Everything is popping and happening, and it's all happening according to a long ago written biblical prophetic pattern.
And I think that's one of the things that I'm really fascinated by, and one of the reasons that I've been so impressed with your work over the years because doctrinally, you're very scripturally sound. You're conservative as far as the basic doctrines of soteriology, how we get saved. But you have been on the cutting edge of that particular topic. What is the relationship between science and Scripture? What are some of the other issues out there that we as the church should be addressing? The UFO phenomenon. What happens? Well, the big questions that humans have wondered about since the beginning of time. Why are we here? Where did we come from? Where do we go when we die? And as you know, there are all kinds of answers that are in the public square right now that have nothing to do with the God of the Bible. People are looking for God at the helm of a UFO.
Oh, yeah.
And that is, as a science fiction fan growing up, that hits close to home for me, because had my life gone a different way, had the Holy Spirit not gotten a hold of me, I would have been one of those folks who thought that, yes, someday we'll find heaven on a silicon chip.
Yeah, well, I think through a number of media, including sci-fi, the world's being prepared for a spiritual explosion. Mm-hmm. Not all of it good. I think we're heading into some rather dark areas, and Bible prophecy said that we would head into these areas. It's happening quickly, and I've seen your presentations. I know you're ready for this.
Well, thank you. This is quite an honor. This is what I wanted to do when I was a kid.
And you do it very well. I want to go back to Tom for just a minute and revisit the era in which we live. Moving up to this prophecy conference and speaking in terms of what Skywatch Television and Prophecy Watchers will be doing in the next few months. Again, these are crucial months upcoming. We're talking about everything from World War III to an uncertainty about American politics and American economy. We're talking about science having gone half crazy. We don't know what's going on in those dark labs right now, but you've written about a lot of it, and you follow these developments. And I know you're going to continue to do that. And so the prophecy conference that will be coming up in 2016 is going to be taking place in that setting. Talk about that a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Skywatch Television really is the result, if you will, of an interest that I had after pastoring, which would then allow me to broaden the scope of my interests, what I can talk about. You can't get it brilliant every week and talk about aliens or those UFOs you mentioned a moment ago as a pastor, but there were questions. And I knew that if I had these questions and I was asking for answers, and the traditional religious circle, Christian circle that I was in wasn't really providing any answers, how much more so the unchurched or people out there that are just, like you say, searching for God. And I can see now the hand of God is on your life, Bob Ulrich, Prophecy Watchers. I've seen miracle after miracle working on your behalf. I think we're going to look back in a few years and be shocked and amazed and actually glad we didn't know, really, all that was going to happen, because it might scare us now, right? And Skywatch Television is committed to the same type of thing. We want to answer the hard questions. We want to talk about all kind of multifaceted issues. But at the end of the day, we want it to be centered in a traditional conservative Christian worldview. We are fishers of men. That's what we want to do. And so Prophecy Watchers is doing that. Skywatch Television's doing that. We have a very unique relationship. I've never seen two other broadcast ministries that would work together the way we are. And let's be honest, most people would be, they'd be concerned. You might steal some of my audience, or you might wind up with some of my money or whatever, right? And I'm glad that the way we work together is bigger than that. We know that we have a mission that is important, and time is short, and that's what the conference is going to be about as well. And when I ask this guy right here, Derek Gilbert, to come to work for me, I didn't have any idea that in this short period of time, this mantle would be placed on him. I'm thankful he's been trained, at the feet of people like you. Paul trained at the feet of Gamaliel, and has been a fabulous student. He's a sharp as a tack. I mean, this guy is good at what he does. You're going to keep doing the daily updates for me too, aren't you? Yeah. So
well, and I'd like to not only welcome Derek Gilbert as host of Skywatch TV, but also invite you from time to time as the occasion arises, to visit us at Prophecy Watch.
Love to do that. Love to do that.
And we'll have this cooperative venture. Derek, let me shake your hand, wish you well, blessings in the Lord. And in the closing moments, we've got about 3 minutes left. In the closing moments we have, Derek, you've got plans, I know. I haven't talked with you about what they are, but you've probably got a lot of things percolating that you'd like to do in the near future, right?
Outlined a book, working on that now. We'll see how that goes. Unlike Sharon, who can knock out chapters in a span of minutes, I tend to do most of my work with the spoken word. As my mother will be happy to tell you, I began talking before I turned 1 year old.
Wow!
And I haven't stopped. So. Again, this is what I'd wanted to do when I was a kid growing up. But the thing that really concerns me about Christianity in America today is that if the surveys are accurate, surveys that I've read from the National Geographic Channel and from Barna Group that does a lot of research into the state of Christianity in America today, Americans are 4 times more likely to believe that we're being visited by extraterrestrials than to believe in the God of the Bible. That is why we do what we do at Skywatch TV. That's why you do what you do at Prophecy Watchers. That's why I am I feel this is a high calling to be in this chair.
Well said. And, I agree with you on that point. There is a subtle propaganda out there. And we are called to break through that propaganda wherever possible. And, Tom, I know you're doing that. You've been doing it for years. In fact, I consider you to have been on the cutting edge for many years when it comes to groundbreaking ideas. And I think that those are ideas that have come from the Lord himself, and I congratulate you on bringing all this to pass.
Well, thank you. And I'm looking forward to this conference. We're going to have a blast. It's going to be promoted by both of us. You and I are going to MC it. We're going to have to talk about it. What are we going to say? I don't know what to say.
When Tom and I are on a stage together, I don't ever have to worry about what to say because he simply takes over. And it's always fun,
yeah.
But it's serious too. And I hope we can bring together a good-natured civility with sound doctrine and a keen eye toward the unfolding events on planet Earth. Once again, welcome, Derek Gilbert, new Skywatch TV host. It's been my pleasure today to participate in what I consider to be a groundbreaking event in the history of Skywatch TV. Derek, blessings to you.
Thank you.
And Tom, thank you very much for having me here today.
All right, I look forward to being on your program.
And we'll do it very soon. I'm
right.
Gary Stearman for Skywatch TV. Have a great day in the Lord.